Hello there, welcome to Foxbox. My name's Tommy Danger, otherwise known as Firefox. Today we're going to be working on snaking, as well as traveling snakes. And what we're going to be doing with the traveling snakes and the regular snakes is just the simple conceptual designs of how to move with these snakes, how to travel with these snakes so that you can get your linear isolations to work out very, very nicely in combinations. So first off, we're going to start with a wall plane snake. A wall plane snake is stereotypically just a very simple movement that's going to involve a linear wick isolation, but instead of following the plus sign or any point on the plus sign like we were talking about, this time it's actually going to be traveling up in a diagonal motion and curving around for it. So we're going to start in the home position with our palms facing down, and we're going to be statically moving our fans up in this process of moving up and twisting on one hand this way. In this case, I'm going to be moving to my right. So what I want to do is I want to lift here, and I want to twist here at the same time to kind of give that linear wick isolation ratcheting effect, but at a diagonal motion. So we can swing a little bit to this side too to help with that diagonal motion and help get that overall feeling of it. Next, when we hit this top point, we can actually come back down just like this, like I'm doing here. Or, to actually complete the snake, we can actually come back and twist around to the other side. What we're going to do is we're just going to come up at this diagonal, and we're going to have these two wicks right here stay together and fold statically over the top. So it just makes this little curve right here. Well, now that gets us in the position where, like before, when we had the linear wick isolations, we made our arrows, right, to come back this way. We can now come across, and our fan arrows are pointing at a diagonal towards my right again. So I can actually pull in and linear wick isolation back down to this corner, and then swing back to position. So we can swing out, pulling it up like this, twisting across, and then pulling in like that. One more time, if you notice, when I'm swinging, I'm pulling with these two wicks first, having each wick kind of meet with each other up until it gets to the top, then taking these two wicks again and dragging them over so they isolate over like this, and then I'm pulling with these wicks and making sure they touch again, and then dragging down with those two wicks. So it's a continuous pattern doing this motion. Now the reason why that we're teaching this one first is it always has this swing, no matter where you're putting it, it always has this swing up here, and it always has this swing up here to get these diagonals to happen. So in the case of a traveling snake, what we can do is we can have this diagonal coming out to our side, which is basically going into this home position, because there's typically two home positions. There's this one, and there's this one, okay? Where both my palms are facing in no matter which way I'm doing this. So we can have this home position come out to the side, so we can swing this out here, right? And then to make them travel, since our palms are facing in and our palms are at this point, with this motion we can have that swing again, but instead, since we're pulling up like this, we can have them swing this way, or we can just swing them down. And the way we can swing them down is we're going to swing them down behind us and take a step. So that now my palms are facing out, and I'm facing away from the place that I originally started at. And we can have them swinging again here, and swinging out to the side, and pulling back in for it. So this is actually just a normal traveling snake. And to get this normal traveling snake here, we're going to do it one more time. We're going to swing out like this, but there's all these wicks meeting together at that point. Then we're just going to take these two and we're going to isolate on that curve down to this side of my body. And we're going to again keep that curve going and isolate by swinging them all the way out to the side again, and then linear wick isolate them back in. And then from here we could swing back down. All of this is one big swinging motion. Swinging out to the side, pulling out like this, coming down, lifting up, pulling in, swinging back down. We can do the same thing behind us. So if we were doing a linear wick isolation, we were back here. say we have our palms facing out and our fans behind us. We could swing our fans out to the side like this, and now my arrows are pointing so they can linear wick isolate behind me, right? So we just twist our body and allow those things to come behind us. To keep going with this traveling motion, if I take a step, my fans are out to my side, right? So I could drop my hands and allow that swing to happen down here. And swing back to this side. And then there's my arrows again pointing into my body. They can pull in again to come back to the position. So pulling out, swinging across, swinging down, up, cross. I'm doing this by just pivoting on one of my feet right now, just for the sake of the camera. But stereotypically, you would be taking step motions towards the camera as you're doing it. To stay in frame, I'm just simply pivoting on one foot and swinging the other foot around. One more time, palms are out, we're swinging up, linear isolate across, swing down as I'm taking a step, swinging back, pulling across, and swinging back down to the home position. These two different motions are just a simple forward and back on how you're doing this. And that swinging motion could be anywhere. It could be up on your head. There's a way up on your head that does this, where you're pulling back behind you and pulling to this motion, right? From this linear wick isolation, I can turn and pull it out. As long as you have two wicks, when the two wicks are meeting at a certain point, they curve somewhere on the plane, somewhere in the area. In front of me, here's behind me, swinging down. When you're done with the linear wick isolation, you still have these two wicks, almost like they're connected together. When they're connected like this, you want to make sure that you can imagine them staying together, and that's how you could change your plane, and that's how you can change your position on wherever your snakes are moving. Because these snakes are still part of the linear wick isolation grouping, which is what we learned in the third video. And so as long as you're keeping that focus, we can actually add these to everything that we're doing in linear wick isolation. You can just keep going around. However you want to move with these, as long as you have that swinging motion going to get your snake to actually travel, to have this overall figure 8 style traveling motion. So that is snaking and traveling snakes. And I hope you enjoy.